I am coming. I just have to close out. Hey, hi everyone. I am Lana Quest and welcome to the Quest Show. It is so good to be here. I was up in the air today, like, come on, do I not come on? Wasn't too sure. Been a lot of stuff happening in the news this week, so I figured, hey, why not come on and let's chat about it. But before we start to chat about it, sorry, I'm going to be looking down a lot. I'm going to just ask everyone to please like this video. Yes, like the video before the video is over. I want you to like it ahead of time. Share it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I do want to say thank you to the new subscribers that are a couple, so I'm happy for that. And that's it. How are you doing? It's really hot and humid, right? Like, but I love it. I love the heat. But we have some things to talk about, don't we? It's like trying to talk about the weather and all those things before we get into the really heavy stuff that we need to talk about. But I guess it's just best to go on and jump right in because you have all heard the news. Today is June 29th, 2023, and today is the day that affirmative action has been gutted. I am sorry, I'm just gonna turn this down. Hey, Mary, I think Michelle and DA are gonna pop up in the chat tonight. Hopefully Walter gets here, maybe Brian, but we'll see. But let's talk about affirmative action. Hey guys, why are you so glum? Affirmative action's gutted. Y'all don't have any rich friends, rich white friends to like, pay for your kids or your nephew's tuition. Like everyone doesn't have, y'all don't have someone to pay for the tuition like Clarence Thomas does. I mean, he helped gut it, but his nephew apparently was okay to take Harlan Crow's money. He had his tuition paid for. That seems like that was some type of affirmative action. We all know that Clarence Thomas went to, was it Yale? Do the affirmative action, and he was a mediocre student. He wasn't that great. How do you think he got where he was? But, self-hate is a thing. But let's talk about it. So affirmative action was gutted today. We all knew it was coming, right? Like we knew it. We knew it was coming while everyone was celebrating that little victory that we had on the voting. You know how North Carolina, we're getting all of the decisions kind of this week because I think tomorrow the session is over. So we got all the major decisions this week. I think it was Wednesday we got the decision on the suit brought by, I can't even remember who, it was out of North Carolina, where they were saying that the state should have rights over the federal government to take over elections. The suit was arising, I don't remember, was it Eastman who brought this suit initially or who came up with the states' right thing? Because, it was the legislature and the election workers who stopped Trump from taking over the elections in Arizona and in Georgia, right? So they were pissed off about that. So they're like, hey, if we have states' right, that means that the Republicans that are in power will take over the elections. And if we want to recall it, we can recall it. And the Supreme Court ruled against them and in favor of, yeah, that's not going to happen. But everyone was celebrating that. And it's like, but that's just kind of like, that's a no-brainer. Like, how in the world are you giving the state right. The legislature writes over like the federal elections. That is ridiculous. So everybody was celebrating that. And meanwhile, this was about to come down. And before you guys, calm down, tomorrow, you're going to learn that you're going to have to pay for your own school loans. Just so you know, don't hold your breath on that one, because that is coming too. They're not going to allow it. I mean, hopefully they say something like Biden didn't go through the right process when he decided to forgive loans, and then they would have to go back to the drawing board and redo it. Hopefully it's something like that, and it just doesn't get shut down all the way, but we will see. I am sorry, I went off of affirmative action into the student loan forgiveness. So let's go back. So affirmative action, they are in essence saying that race should not and will not be a factor in college admissions. So let's just get something straight. Race was not, it was a factor, but it was never a deciding factor. Like that was, you're never, this is the lie that conservatives were telling you. It was, they get 2 applications, African American, white, automatically we're going with the African American. This is what they were trying to say was going on. And that was not going on, because if that's the case, if you have a white student and a Black student applying to Harvard and they're always choosing the Black student, then Harvard would be a doggone HBCU. That would be a whole Black ass college. And as we know, Harvard is not a whole Black ass college. So that doesn't even make sense what they're trying to say. Someone posted some craziness saying Harvard is 50% Black. Says who? That's absolutely ridiculous. I wrote down the stats, but of course, I wrote down, oh, I did. So here we go. Let's look at the makeup of Harvard, since everyone thinks it's so race-based and Black people are just getting these free rides because of affirmative action, and they're getting all of the grants and scholarships and just all of the money. Let's break it down. So let's tackle the first thing first. Are Black people getting all of the admission slots going to Ivy League schools or any schools? Let's tackle that first. So at Harvard, white people, 1,947. Harvard Asian people, 1,230. Harvard Hispanic, 700. Harvard International students, 665. Harvard Black, 626. That's nowhere near 54%. That is not 40%. Like that's not how that works. So it's obvious, abundantly clear, that Black people are not getting an upper hand with affirmative action. They're just saying that, hey, if you have a qualified African American student, we want you to consider him. That's it. We just don't want you to discriminate. We just don't want you to be racist. We want Black students to be considered in this admissions process. That's what that means. Qualified candidates. They're not turning white people away. And it's interesting because, an Asian kid bought this suit. And this is always interesting because, the Asian community is for affirmative action. But what conservatives do is they're still trying to pit us against each other, right? Like, we got to be mad at the Asians right now because that's what it is. So that's why they use this kid. This kid had a 4.0 average and complaining about not being able to get into Harvard, where Harvard is made up of white and Asian people. Literally, Black people are not taking his spot. This kid was a 4.0 average. That's like a C going into Harvard. You need to be 4.4, 4.6 GPA, not a 4.0. Like, who does that? Anybody can get that coming out of high school. Anybody. Most of the kids, the smart kids are getting 4.0s coming out of high school. That doesn't mean you're going straight to Harvard. But I just think that this kid was used by this conservative group to file this lawsuit and say that the Black kids are taking his slot. Again, behind whites, the Asians, Black people are last, well, next to last, because I think it's the Native Americans are actually last. They're falling at like 1 or 2% going into Harvard. So who is it really benefiting? So that is just a way for them to do this other thing that Republicans seem like they're doing, because here comes the Republican responses. Yeah, it benefits Asian students a lot, right? And it's not all Asian students. And again, we have to be very careful, because this has been the conservative game plan too, right? They like to split up marginalized communities, right? They don't want us on the same team. And this has been the way just forever. So they want us mad at the Asians, because I just listened to a representative of their community saying, this is a horrible thing that just happened. And it is, right? It's not all of them that was saying that. It's not even the majority of them. It's this kid, maybe a couple others, but hey, you're a mediocre student. Just because you're Asian doesn't mean you get into Harvard. And I really think that's probably what was going on. I don't know. But let's talk about the legacy students, right? So like, we get rid of race can't be considered during an admission, but why don't we get rid of the legacy admissions? Because they're taking like 43% of the seats. And I think I just heard that the Black Caucus is going to be pushing to get rid of legacy admissions, because that's still here. Legacy is still here. Legacy means, hey, if your parents are alumni, you just get to go to the school. Or if you're rich, you just get to go to the school. If your parents are big donors, you get to go to the school. If your parents have a wing at Harvard, you get to go to the school. So that's the new affirmative action, right? Like, the new affirmative action protects the legacy kids, because those kids are going to the schools regardless. So then you only have a few seats left. And that's not just Americans trying to get into Harvard. That's international. Everyone's trying to get into Harvard. And you still have Black people, 626 Black people near the bottom of who is getting into Harvard. Like, that's ridiculous. Again, unless you're Clarence Thomas and Harlan Crow is paying your tuition, I guess we're shit out of luck, because Clarence said it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. What's interesting? Guess whose admission is not changing? The military. Yeah, the military. The military is doing race-based admissions. West Point, they're going to do not race-based, but that they consider race when you apply to West Point or any military school, because you're good enough to fight for the country if you're Black, right? Am I right? You can fight. We want you in our military. That's what we do want. Isn't that interesting how that works? If you're Black, yeah, come on in. We do want you in our military, because we need more military men and women. So that's okay. We're going to keep it there, but we're going to take it out of the Ivy Leagues and those schools. And what's so dangerous about this is it's not going to just be the schools. We know that this is going to, hi, Michelle. We know that this is going to just move on into employment, right? Because what's going to stop an employee, right, Asian, white, non-African American, from suing a company to say, hey, this company gave this job to this Black person because of affirmative action, and then it goes up to the Supreme Court. What's gonna happen? You think they're gonna say, well, we're gonna gut it in college admissions, but leave it whole for employers? That's not what they're gonna do, because that's next. It's gonna be in employment practices, right? You have Ron DeSantis running around saying he doesn't want diversity and inclusion even mentioned in schools or for employers. So of course that's going to happen in your employment. And that's going to have even more of a devastating impact. Like, oh my God, like if you really think about it, these poor kids, like these kids are being born right now. Excuse me, it is so hot in here. These kids are being born right now with less rights than we had. And that's pretty sad. And so you make it more difficult for them to go into college. We already are fighting, the prison pipeline, school to prison pipeline. We're trying to fight that. We want them to go school to college and not school to prison, but then you're making it hard for them to go to college. And then we're going to turn around and then make it even more difficult for them to get jobs. It's going to be more difficult for, say, Black contractors or Black construction companies to get like government contracts, like all of that. And all that does is destroy Black wealth. Like it's like we can't get ahead because they keep setting us backwards. And when they said make America great again, they meant make America great again for them. Like they are legitimately taking us backwards with every one of these decisions. Like, how is that possible that our children right now are being born with less rights? Like the girls cannot choose what to do with their bodies right now. There is no affirmative action. What's going to stop equal rights? Because that's what affirmative action actually was. It was an extension of equal rights. We're trying to get equity. We're just saying, no, don't just give Blacks easy access. We're just saying if someone is Black and qualified, to consider that person. Equality, equity, that's what they mean. So if that is gutted, and then here they come saying, well, Pence is like, we want a colorblind society. Why? That's why equal rights is next, because they're going to just say, why do we have this anyway? Blacks can do whatever they want. There's no racism anymore. There's no one's stopping Black people from voting. No one's stopping Black people from getting jobs. There are Black people that are making millions of dollars. Why do we need an equal rights bill? Why do we need that? That's next. That's next. It's always been next. It has always been the plan. Like, wake up. Where was everyone in 2016? Because that writing was on the wall so much. Trump came down an elevator talking about Mexicans were racist. You knew where we were going. We weren't going to, if he came down the escalator and announced his presidency and then said Mexicans were rapists, what did we think was going to happen during his presidency? What did we think the plan was? There was always a plan. They didn't back Trump because Trump was this brilliant guy. He ain't brilliant. He's a big dummy. They backed Trump because they could mold him into doing everything. Let him do whatever he needed to do to make his money, put a hotel in DC, charge the security. This is a fortune to stay at his hotels, Let him do all of his grifting stuff. But right here, we're going to give him this list of Supreme Court justices that we want up there because we know what we want to do. We want to get rid of abortion because we're not pro-life. We don't care about life. What is that? No, we're just anti-abortion because we want to control. That's what that is. These people do not care about life. Because if they cared about life, once again, because they always come out and say you're killing babies, and it's like, do you care? Because how can you ever accuse someone of killing a baby if you see them getting gunned down in a school with an assault weapon and you say nothing? It's just so crazy. It makes you really want to pull all of your hair out because it just makes no sense. And I know I've gotten onto like abortion, but those are the things that they're getting rid of, like all of your freedom. They are literally the anti-freedom party. They are. Let's listen to what did Clarence Thomas say? Clarence Thomas had a quote, and it was quite interesting. If I could find it. Oh, he said, hi, DA. Clarence said, even in the segregated South where I grew up, individuals were not the sum of their skin color. So why do you need affirmative action? Tell that to your grandmother who was picking cotton. It's like, excuse me? She wasn't the sum of her skin color? What does that even mean, Clarence? Do you think that the white slave owners and the white people who were made you or your mother or your grandmother pick cotton, you think they were like, wow, Jessie May sure ain't the sum of her skin color. She's such a nice woman. Now go pick that cotton. Like, what are you even talking about, Clarence? Who are you trying to fool? We see you. We know what you're doing. We get it. It is self-hate. We understand. You don't have to do all of this. Who are you doing that for? Because the blacks know. Maybe you're doing it for white people, but they know too. Like, we know it's self-hate. You hate where you've come from. We get it. You don't want to be reminded of it. You have to play up in order for you to keep getting the gifts that you're getting, you got to do what you're doing. And that's what makes it even more nefarious. It makes it even just more disgusting. Like it's just really bad. I hear that he and Ketanji got into it a little bit because she was probably like, dude, are you serious right now? Like she probably was just astonished with the stuff that he was writing. It was just, it's insane. But, yeah. What did give me some hope today was listening to actual students because they're paying attention. And I'm happy that they're paying attention. Like they interviewed quite a few students and the students were well-rounded. They interviewed white students, black students, all different backgrounds. And it was all a consensus of, why would you do this? Why would you take this away? One black student, a male, and he was like, well, what do I do on my essay? He's like, do I just not write about my experience? Because my experience is my blackness. Like you can't, and I guess if you're non-black, you don't really understand it. Excuse me. There's no separation. Like, I don't know if I could actually write an essay about myself without talking about an experience as a black woman, because it's so separate. We are a separate identity. There is no color blindness. Like it's baked in. It is just the way America has been. And he was like, how do I separate my experience? How do I write an essay without talking about my experience as a black man? He's like, you're asking me to basically not be who I am, to be something else. And that's kind of part of the plan is erasure, right? Just erase us. They're whitewashing the history books. They're getting rid of diversity and inclusion. I mean, this is just another, is it a brick in or a brick out? I don't know. It's just another step in the big plan, because at the end of the day, America is becoming more diverse. Excuse me. It's becoming more diverse, and they don't like it. So they have to try to attack it any means necessary because they're afraid. So that means that these kids, Gen Z, and they've awakened them. And it's so funny too, because none of the Republicans are going to run on this. Just listen during their campaigns. They're not going to run on any of this nonsense. They're not going to talk about this. None of the Republicans are going to talk, be happy about, oh, we got rid of abortion, vote for me. They're not going to say it. They're not going to say it unless they're asked about it, because they know it's a losing issue. They're not going to talk about this unless they're asked about it. All they're going to talk about is woke. Getting rid of the woke. That's what they're going to talk about. I don't know, maybe they'll talk about immigration, but border crossings are down. So I don't really know what they're going to talk about there. So it's going to be the woke, I guess. I don't know, but they've awakened the giant. And it's interesting because I will give DA the credit, because he did remind me of the fact that, they're trying to raise the voting age on young people. They want to raise it to what, 21 or something like that. So they're like, you can get an AR-15 at 18. Well, voting, oh no, we're going to raise that to 21, right? Because they just want to make it more hard. America is supposed to be we're supposed to be giving access. People come to America because it's like America the free, Statue of Liberty, everyone, if you can make it here, oh, that's New York. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to be America the free, not a Republican America. It's only if you're a white male, and the white women have to listen to the white males, because other than that, no, you're not free. So they want to raise the age of voting for the Gen Zers. Cleta Mitchell, who was she a Trump attorney, or she's an attorney for the Republicans? I don't know. She's a Republican activist attorney, something. She's pissed off that there are ballot boxes in colleges, on college campuses. She's like, hey, why do these ballot boxes here? They get to just roll out of bed and vote and then go back to bed? Why not? Like, what's the bad thing about this? Imagine complaining about someone voting. Only in a Republican world do you complain about voting, because at this point, Republicans do not want to grow their base. They don't care about growing the base. They're not trying to grow their base. They want to suppress the votes. And if that means trying to raise the age of people who can vote, that means how DeSantis just passed that law in Florida, whereas third-party organizations that get you registered to vote, how they're at the park or different events, and then they'll have their booth there and they try to get people registered to vote. Well, he passed a law to make it more difficult for those organizations to do that. Now they have to jump through hoops to get licensed or certified or whatever the case is to even get people registered to vote. Why? Because he knows that at these events, at these college campus events, at concerts, Black events, there are booths there that get Black and young people, Black, brown, communities registered to vote in the young people. And because they don't like that, they're trying to stunt that. Because again, they're not trying to grow their base. Like that right there should tell you all you need to know about Republicans. Like they're just like, we don't need the Black vote. We'll just stop them from voting. We don't need them. Imagine that. We gotta prove them wrong, guys. We gotta prove them wrong. There's consequences to elections. And if you don't vote, look what we have. 2016 was very telling. It has taught a lot of people. I remember in 2016 too, young people were so excited for Bernie, like he had the young people's vote, and Bernie would not drop out of that race. Bernie Bernie bros are very cult-like too. Remember, they were so cult-like. And by the time he dropped out, the damage was done. They were not feeling Hillary. They were not trying to vote for Hillary. Then there was part of the people who did not want a woman. There was a part of people who wanted her to pay for her husband's sins. There was part of the people who didn't like her pantsuits. I guess she didn't smile enough. She was a flawed candidate. Like, who cares when your benefits, your freedoms are like gonna be taken away? Like none of that matters. But now people see. Now you see what happens when you do not vote. Fuck around and find out you don't vote for Biden. You're gonna end up with Trump again? Is that where we're going? Or DeSantis? I mean, DeSantis is Trump, but just a shorter, smarter version. That will be a lot worse because Trump just wants to stay out of jail at this point and just grift his way into oblivion. He'll make money until he dies. That's what he wants to do. But DeSantis wants to be king. He wants to run things. Like he wants everything. He wants to call all the shots. He wants the government to work for him. So you think that Trump's DOJ and Bill Barr belong to Trump? You have not seen Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis says that he wants to take the Civil Rights Department and do investigations on people who commit crimes against white people. That's civil rights for him. Because again, this is what all of this is too, right? This is like Trump wrote today. He wrote, affirmative action is gone. Basically, it's a good thing because affirmative action was racist towards white people, right? So it goes into the white grievance thing because there's a faction of Americans who blame the other for their shortcomings or because they blew their 400-year head start. So I don't know, enough of that. It's gonna be fine, kids. It's gonna be fine. I don't know how. But we're gonna work through it because guess what? We've always worked through it. We've always worked through it. We've always found a way to maneuver to work through it. And if that takes just being the star or being better, we're accustomed to that. That's how it's always have been for us. Have y'all ever went to a job, right? Me and my cousin would talk about this, and she worked in the tech industry, and she would say, I would go in, and she's like, they're wearing pajamas, they're bringing their pets in, and they just slippers on, everything. She's like, I'm coming in a business suit. I'm not doing that because that's how Black people are. We're like, the minute we do something like that, we're getting written up. There's going to be a memo about a dress code. We're going to get fired because we have to look better. We have to do better. We just have to be better. We have to be better just to get the average or just the same. DA and I talked about this today. It's like You got to be 2 times better just to get to be in the same spaces. 2 times better. We don't play that. Oh no, you wear the pajamas. I'm not wearing the pajamas. Even at my law firm, the women, they dress how they dress. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. No, my mama said, no, you wear your best and you wear clean underwear. Just in case. No, you're right. They wouldn't. If they were doing right by us, they wouldn't have to be so scared. Uncle Thomas gave admission to undergrad and law school. Yeah, Uncle Thomas ain't playing. But let's talk about Trump's audio for a minute before we go. I'm tired, man. I want to work out. So there was an audio of Trump today. Not today. When did the audio come out? I don't know. They've been playing it all. Oh, you know what? Affirmative action took over the news today. The news cycle went to affirmative action. That's right. They've been playing that audio all week, though, of the newly leaked audio of actually. So during the indictment, remember how Jack Smith had in the indictment how Trump was showing a top secret document to his staffers? Well, there was a leaked audio of Trump showing a document to his staffers. So Trump laughing, giggle, 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 haha, look. This is a secret. This is secret information. You see, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but it's a secret. And like his staffers are like, ha, 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 like, I just, and I bet there's more audio. There's probably more tapes, right? He just giggle, giggle, giggle with the top secret stuff, and they're just like stroking his fragile ego, like, everyone thinks it's funny. They bring up Hillary's name, like, oh, what Hillary would have done or what she did. It was just disgusting. Like, the top secret document. He's like, look. And they're not even security cleared, but he's just showing it to people. And then he asks for some Coke. Like, I guess he was thirsty from looking at all the top secret documents. Like, I guarantee none of them in the room knew what the hell they were looking at. He's like, look, and they're just like laughing. I'm like, what the fuck is so funny? Like, do you know what you're looking at? What is this? Like, oh my God, it's just so disgusting. And it's not even, this man was the president. How did we not know something was wrong when they were like, oh, Donald Trump doesn't read the briefs? We try to get him to read the briefs, so we make them in a coloring book format with some Sharpies, and we draw some pictures on it just so he pays attention and listens. Which is very odd, because for someone who didn't read the briefs, took all the top secret documents home to do what? Read? Right. That's why you can't buy that, right? That's why they're, I mean, this is me saying it, and I'm pretty sure y'all are thinking it too, but everything Trump does benefits Trump. So Trump does not have benefits in his house, in his toilet, all over the place. He doesn't have documents there just to look at, not when he wasn't even reading the briefs. You mean to tell me he's pulling out documents to read? Like, no, I don't buy that at all. So that audio came out. So his attorneys must have been like, what the fuck is this, right? Because it's really clear. Like, most people who are involved or indicted or some type of legal issues surrounding them, when they go on different shows and talk to different whatever, they take their attorneys, so their attorneys can nod and say, you can answer. Like, right? Not Trump. Trump, he just goes on Fox and he just like vomits more information. What did he? Oh, Yeah, it was there was nothing wrong with that recording. It was a nice recording. It was a nice recording. No, that wasn't top secret documents I was showing them. It was a bunch of, you heard the papers. You heard the papers. It was the papers, there were the rustling and it was the newspaper. Oh, wait, no, it was the golf plan because I said plan. That's right. I said plan in the audio. So I was talking about a golf plan. Like, what in the, he was like making that stuff up as he went. It was like you could see his brain just like try to the magazines, the articles, and then it just dawned on him like, shit, I said plan and the audio, boom, golf plans for a new golf course. Like it was insanity. And then he's like, something about he's legitimate because he's a legitimate man. I was just like, wow, where are we going right now? This is what they support. He's leading Ron DeSantis by 30, 31, 33 points. He's their man. See, he's their man. I know Mitch McConnell's somewhere pulling his little bit of hair out because he does not want Trump to be the nominee. They really thought it was DeSantis, but DeSantis is just really not likable. What else happened in the world today? What are you guys saying in there? Hi, Paul. How are you? Rudy G, the guy we love to hate. He was interviewed by Jack Smith's people. Interesting, right? Relative to his election probe. So it's so much swirling around. Sometimes you forget about some of this stuff. Like he's indicted on documents, but we got the election probe, which the election probe kind of like segues right into J6, right? Like all of that is combined. So Rudy G spoke to Jack Smith's people. I guess he found out that there is no black hair dye in prison, and that made him very, very nervous because I don't think Rudy wants to go to prison without his hair dye. That would just be a problem. So he said that he went there, or his spokesperson said that he went there voluntarily. It was a nice conversation. Now, y'all know that Rudy, the person who had his hands everywhere, and he was right there at J6 rooting people on, telling them that, basically they had to take back the country by any means necessary. That was Rudy. He was just out there like getting that crowd riled up. Rudy did not walk in there voluntarily to have a chat with Jack Smith's people. He did not. I mean, let me back that up. He was not subpoenaed, but he knew what was coming down the pike. That is why he walked himself in there voluntarily, because he knows that they're coming for him. And that is more telling that there are bigger cracks in Trump's shield. It's cracking because Rudy and Meadows are pretty far up the top of this ladder, up the top of this chain. So if Rudy is talking right now, that means that Rudy has probably worked out some type of deal to keep his ass out of prison. That is why he's talking. And Rudy is absolutely telling it all. Rudy is probably also avoiding Donald Trump's phone calls, because I'm absolutely certain that Donald Trump is calling Rudy right now to try to figure out, what are you telling these people? What's going on? I'm like, I could swear that Donald threw Rudy under the bus a long time ago, but I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that he's trying to call Rudy to figure out what Rudy told Jack Smith. Also, I heard that Jack Smith offered or has given immunity to 2 of the fake electors, which is, again, problematic for Trump and his election probe. Like, he is so jacked up. It's like he's got Fonnie doing the state part of this, and then he's got Jack doing the federal part of the election probe that runs right into the J6. And a lot of those Republican lawmakers should be very afraid, because if they're talking to Rudy's telling on y'all. Y'all are getting told on. So you must be very, I guess that's why they're running around here trying to block and keep us thinking of something else and drawing up like impeachment papers for Biden and all kinds of nonsense, so that we don't pay attention to what's coming down the pipe. Yeah, Rudy is spilling it. Hey, Paul, I am doing good. I love this. I love what Jack is doing. This stuff is going very quickly. And remember Raffensperger? Right. Raffensperger has been spilling the beans as well, because Raffensperger is the one who made the tape. He's the one that Trump called and was like, yo, give me 11,000 blah, 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 blah votes. Like, I need you to find that for me. Like, Trump is just like, oh my, and it's so funny. His ego is what gets him in trouble. Well, not with Raffensperger, because he didn't know about that recording, but a lot of these other recordings, it's his ego. I mean, Meadows and everybody's recording Trump for his book, and Trump is just like spilling it to everybody. Like, he's like the worst gangster ever. Like, ugh. He thinks he's gangster, but he is definitely the worst gangster ever. What else happened this week? I am almost finished with everything. The Russia stuff, I don't really know about that. I know that there was a planned coup by Putin's old ally with the, what is it, a missionary group that goes around raping and pillaging people all over the place. And he decided to go against Putin and plan a coup that really wasn't a planned coup, because like, if you're gonna do it, you do it. How do you go halfway and then you're like, oh, I changed my mind? It's like, what? You don't change your mind with Putin. Boy, dude, you don't change your mind with, man. Like, if Putin don't get you this week, it's gonna be when you least expect it. You know, that guy, whatever his name is, I don't remember his name, but he's gonna be flying out some window. He's gonna get like an envelope with some powder in it. Like this, he's gonna be somewhere sitting with someone and he's just gonna keel over, or he's gonna have some type of disease that they don't know where it's come from. Boop, boop's not finished. What? Come on, man. Like, what? I don't understand it. But I think we have gone through everything. Like I said, tomorrow we are going to get a decision on the student loan forgiveness. Prepare yourselves. If you thought today was bad, it's going to be bad tomorrow. But you know what? Before I close out, sometimes you have to go through some bad things to wake up, to get motivated, to understand how good you had it. You know, young people are now seeing how important it is to pay attention to what is happening in your community, pay attention to what's happening in politics. I had a young person today say to me, you know, after today, and it's interesting, he is going to BC Law School. So congratulations, Justin. So proud of you. He said that he thinks that he is going into politics. Like, he didn't know what he was going to do after law school, but he believes that he is going to go into politics after this ruling, because it's becoming abundantly apparent to young people that this is just the beginning. You know, if we don't fight back, if we don't fight back hard, that Republicans are going to continue to take rights away. It's just that simple. It's not just the general election. now you're learning that because we slept on so many of these local elections. Like we just slept, we just forgot about it. Like no one thought about city council, no one thought about school committees, and now you just have Moms for Liberty running around crazy, trying to get the books banned and everything else. You have now great poll workers are just leaving the field, like they are just afraid. So you just have a minority of crazies with loud mouths just running around terrorizing people. And it's time that we fall back, right? Like it's not going to be easy. It's just never easy. Angela Davis said revolution is not easy. It's not easy. You have to fight. You can't let the minority rule. They want to terrorize us. They want us terrorized. They feed on our terror. It's like we are in this crazy horror movie, and the Republicans are the monsters. And it's like they feed off of our fear. They love it when we're like, now all we can talk about is affirmative action. They love it when we're like backpedaling. They love it when we're angry. And it's like, yep, okay, let's be angry right now in the moment, but then let's breathe and let's focus on what we have to do tomorrow, which is support our Democratic candidates, get your people registered to vote. If your kids can be pre-registered in your state, pre-register your darn kids. Start talking to your kids right now. It's never too early to talk to your children about what is happening in the world. Your kids should know about climate change. I mean, if you watched my show last week, I had my grandson on. He's 9, and I did not goad him. I did not give him information. I didn't tell him what to say, but he knew about the bills that he would love for Biden to pass. He knew that Trump was selfish. He knew that, for instance, if there was food poisoning, Biden would try to fix that, but Trump would only fix his food. That's coming from a 9-year-old, but that's in essence how Trump is. He would only fix it for himself. And that's in essence how Republicans are. They will only fix it for themselves. So my point is, as a 9-year-old, he doesn't understand a lot, but he understands a lot, right? Like he understands more than the average 9-year-old gets about making bills and policies to fix things, because bills fix things. That's the simplistic thing. You're not just going to get things. You're not just going to get reparations. They're just not falling out of trees. No one's going to give you anything. There has to be a policy. It has to go through Congress. Like there are rules to this engagement. So you have to get your people engaged. It starts now. We are going to need everyone in this fight, because we have a long road. I never thought in all of my years, I know you guys didn't think that one, Roe would be gone. That was just, that's a no, because it's just a staple. Who overturns precedent? But it's gone. It's gone. Now affirmative action is gutted. And like I said, equal rights, why do we need that? That's what they're going to say. Clarence Thomas is no good. There's no point to Clarence Thomas. These people are never going to recuse themselves from anything. They're never going to have on the Supreme Court a code of ethics. This is just who they are. Biden is not going to expand the court, so we might as well just be mad at him right now, because he's not going to do it. We want him to do it, but he's not going to do it. I mean, I kind of understand why. If you expand the court for this, then what's going to stop Republicans from expand? Like, when does it stop? How does it stop? That will be a big issue too. So I get it. But again, 2024 is coming. Get your people registered to vote. It is super important. It does need to be expanded, but how do you expand? How do you expand? If Biden expands the court, what happens with the next Republican president? Do they say, you know what? I'm just going to expand the court too? Like, are we just, no, you know what we need? We need term limits. No, it doesn't need to be expanded. How about some term limits? How about not making these people live and die on the Supreme Court, and then at the end of their lives we're like, oh my God, this person is old. Will they either die or will they just retire? Like, that's ridiculous to me. Why is the Supreme Court ever a lifetime thing, when a lifetime appointment? That's insanity. The world changes, the world becomes more diverse. Things change. This court is what they are. We already see what they are. It's just a political machine. But neither one of those things is going to happen at this point. It's not going to get expanded. They're probably not going to have any terms. The only thing left is we need to just doggone vote. Start with getting rid of Bobart and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we'll just continue on after that. It is almost 9 o'clock. Thank you, friends, for showing up. Paul, thank you. I don't think I've ever seen you in my chat before, Paul. So I appreciate you here. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Thank you, Mary, DA. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I would like to see term limits as well. Oh, Paul says he has a new book. Hey, Paul, drop the title of your book in the chat so I can shout it out. That is really cool. Let's see. I guess I'll talk to you guys next week after. Well, I guess we can complain about loan forgiveness not being forgiven. Something else to complain about tomorrow, but good night, guys. Hopefully, I don't know. So some good news is the weekend. Oh, you know what? It's a holiday. It's a holiday. White people's 4th of July. I don't know. The white woman said Black people got Juneteenth. What do we got? The 4th of July. So I guess that's what y'all got. I don't know. I appreciate the day off. So I'm happy to have some time off. You guys take care. Have a good night. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I appreciate y'all. Good night. I am going to work out. Bye.